as I had mentioned before, you need to be able to transition from different distances and in contact with your opponent. This, of course, is the closest, at least in grappling. Sometimes we'll transition from an underhook to an an underhook situation or pummeling situation, or sometimes from pummeling to an underhook situation. Sometimes we end up also transitioning to a collar tie situation. Now, one thing about the collar tie that's important is not to get head to head, because the bottom line is when we're both here, we both can freeze each other up, which is a little bit helpful in terms of preventing our opponent from doing a whole lot in this position, but alternatively it also limits us as well. And so when I have a collar tie, typically I try to keep a little bit of distance here. I don't want to be ear to ear dancing like a bear here. I'm going to be in this type of position here. I want to keep my elbow here because I want to be able to protect myself if my opponent, I can feel them with my forearm as they move. If they attack, I've got something to block with. Okay? This is an important tie-up. I don't think it's the best tie-up, but I think it's an important tie-up that happens in various transitions in which you do have some options in terms of attacks. Now, one of the things is being able to get some mileage out of this position. If my opponent has a tight collar tie on me, and I'm feeling like I'm having trouble breaking out of this position, and we had discussed this situation in the earliest instructional on basic movement, stance, and tie-ups. All I'm going to do is from here, I'm going to trap his wrist. I'm going to make a 90-degree bend with my arm. I also want to keep roughly 90 degrees or close to that to his arm. This won't work well here. If I stretch it out, I'm just going to pop it up. I'm going to block. And I'm going to come up to this situation here. Notice I'm very upright, but I'm in no danger of him grabbing my legs here. Okay? I have great mechanical advantage here. I'm blocking from here and up. There's an arch here. You can shrug an opponent by sometimes in this position. When we're in here, if I'm having trouble coming this way, one option is, as we're popping and moving, especially if I notice that his head gets close to his arm here, I'm going to grab it. Notice, when I do that, I want to have no space between the side of his face and his bicep from here. I'm grabbing his tricep here. I'm pulling his head into his bicep here. And I'm going to bring him along a line alongside of me. Naturally, this works best if I can push into him and get a little bit of a reaction back. Naturally as well, if he's retreating, very unlikely that this type of a technique would be of any use at all. If he's still, but I still feel some pressure into me, possibility. If he's still and there's no real pressure into me, this is very difficult to do. But if I feel him pushing into me, especially if this is a situation where I'm retreating, I'm going to grab. Now when I grab too, I don't want to keep my elbow up too high, else what might happen, I may get attacked. So I reach, my elbow is down here, tight, same time here. We're in this type of position here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to reach to here. And then along this line here, I bring him sort of in front and down, along a line right in front of me here. Kobe ties up, we're moving around here. From this position, especially if he's defeating me by push power, what I'm going to do is right away I'm going to grab here and throw and chuck him by me. Again, a line in front, the trajectory is down, down and in front. I want to, of course, get out of the way. If I pull him into me, he may attack. So as I shuck, I step by and just bring him along that same line and direction of his force, although I transition it downward to the mat. You can do another type of shrug from this position as well. Ken Cherto does a really good job with this type technique, and actually it showed me this a number of years ago. And basically what I'm doing in this position, we're tight, and a lot of times too, in this position he can be fairly tight to me here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to step near foot to foot. This other foot is going to come up with the knee as this arm pops up here, and it's going to come up here. to that position. I'm going to keep my elbow out as I do that. From here, we're in tight. I'm going to pop up as I step, step pop up, bring them past me, torque down. Then push in, open. To this position here. Naturally, if Colby's pushing into me, this is going to work better from here. From this position, you can bring them down to the mat, or left, and bring them down to the mat. Another option is to attack either a headlock or a reverse headlock position from the collar tie. From this type of position, and we'll go over this more in the throwing instructional, but from here we have the headlock position, so you should be practicing your back step here. From this position, step and through. From this position here, I want to just step and through. Just that much for now. Just that much. You got that from your back step. Conversely, from this position here, what I can do is I can come this way and do a back step on this side here. Reverse headlock. We'll go over the finishes on these later, but again, just getting the positions and the transitions initially will facilitate you actually being able to throw later on. So we're in this type of position here. All I'm going to do is I'm going to slide up, lock, and back step.